Yo, what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today I'm going to be sharing some really exciting news about next season of Go Battle League. During the Pokemon Go Championships event, Michael Stampa, who is the lead developer of Niantic in terms of PvP, and who does all of the move updates and everything to do with GBL, of course him and his team, he was talking on stage and he said that next season's update should be even bigger than this season's, and they're looking to really shake things up now that the World Championship event has finished. So that's very exciting news. According to Michael himself, we're going to be getting a big shake up in the meta. And of course, we do have Paldean Pokemon, which are coming to Pokemon Go. Last week, Pokemon Go's Twitter done like a little teaser trailer showing the Paldean starters coming to the game, which will be coming in September. And in the last week, we've had some leaks showcasing community days and new Pokemon which are coming to Pokemon Go. So what we're going to do is have a look at everything we know about next season so far, have a look at the interview with Michael Stampa, and then towards the end, we'll have a look to see what could possibly get changed, and of course I'll give my thoughts and opinions. What I would like you guys to do is, if you're excited for next season of Go Battle League and all of these big changes coming, hit the like button on the video and comment down below which Pokemon would you like to see nerfed, which Pokemon need to be buffed, and if you've been playing Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, which are your favourite Pokemon from that series. I personally have not played that game, so it'd be very interesting to hear some Pokemon which you guys think will be strong in that meta. By all means, if you have any info to share with us, get that in the comment section down below. With any further ado, let's hop into the video and see what Michael had to say about Go Battle League next season.
They know that the Go Battle League rotation is happening in September.
Right.
I know you can't say all the details, but can we expect some changes, some shifts? What can you tell us?
Yeah, well, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but people probably saw a lot of the move balance changes we made with this season. I think you can expect a lot of that, maybe even more next season.
Okay.
Yeah, we're always looking to spice things up, change it up a bit. And now that, the World Championships will have concluded, I think it's a great opportunity for us to, shake things up maybe more than usual.
All right. Well, that sounds good to me. I know Carbink will also be eligible next season as well.
It will be.
So there you have it, folks. That's Michael and Speediest Chief doing a little sort of interview on stage. And, the thing that's interesting about this, which makes me think this will be a very substantial update, is that this is completely out of the blue. This is uncalled for. It's not like people are going crazy. Well, I mean, people are not that happy with the meta, but it's not like this is in response to something. This is just him coming out by himself, answering a question and saying, look, now that this is finished, we can shake things up more than normal. I think he is keeping his cards a little bit closer to his chest. He's not giving away too much, but I would expect there to be quite a substantial update. Actually, in the commentary, Caleb was talking about, I'm not sure if Caleb actually knows anything or not, but he talked about Lantern, Registeel, and Medicham being the top Pokemon, and, for that to be shifted. So maybe Caleb knows something, maybe those Pokemon are getting nerfed. But we could see quite an interesting shift in Go Battle League. And of course, they did mention at the end we do have XL Carbink, which, to be fair, I've used a little bit. I kind of hate that Pokemon, to be fair, even though I've used it in several videos. It is such an RPS Pokemon. So hopefully we're going to see some Pokemon that are of the caliber, which are not just so RPS, or things that can compete with Medicham and the top meta. And of course, I generally just want to see a complete shift in things, where Great League does not feel like it's the same league it's been for the last several seasons. I myself have only been playing Go Battle League since I started playing casually, roughly about a year ago, and barely got through my sets. I barely got through 5 sets a week, let alone per day, at that stage, and I've taken it more seriously myself in the last 6 months or so. But for me, even, I've noticed that the meta has just been super stale and super stiff, and it's been the same the whole way through. Of course, we'll have Carbink in competitive play next season, which is going to completely shake things up with its insane stat product. So hopping into a few of the leaks here, the first thing I want to talk about is Grubbin Community Day, which is coming in September, with a shiny red Grubbin and a Vikavolt, of course. Vikavolt has been a Pokemon which has not really seen a lot of play in Master League. It gets to quite a high CP, and bug types in general, ever since the beginning of time really, moves like X's are very weak, and generally bug types are well overdue a buff at this point. So with this Grubbin Community Day, this is just speculation of course, but this could be a sign that maybe bug type Pokemon are going to start getting some love here, and that's definitely going to be an interesting one. Charge-a-Bug is quite good in limited metas, so I think it would be a nice Community Day for Charge-a-Bug to get a move, to be an interesting Pokemon for Great League, knowing of course electric type moves, and maybe some bug type, which would give it very interesting coverage. And of course Vikavolt will be more of an interesting Pokemon for certainly Ultra League and Master League. I think we're sort of needing a good bug type Pokemon in Master League, or sorry, yeah, I guess Master League, but generally in Ultra League. We have quite a lot of ghost types and darks and psychics, of course, like Crocelias, Girautinas dominating the meta. So it would be quite interesting to see something like Vikavolt to compete in the Ultra League. So talking about our first new Pokemon leak, like I said, these are all leaks, but these leaks have been accurate forever, man. You can take this as gold, basically, at this point. These leaks are very rarely wrong. This Pokemon is supposed to come in the Festival of Lights, and it's going to be Bellibolt. Bellibolt, it's a max 3000 CP electric type Pokemon, kind of like an electric frog looking thing. Of course, I'll put some pictures and stuff on the screen for you guys. It seems to be more of sort of defense and HP weighted Pokemon with sort of lower attack, right? So it could be a bit more of an interesting one. It's not going to be a super bulky Pokemon, but it does make it the whole way to 3000 CP. So it looks like a Pokemon that's probably going to get to like level 40, if I had to guess right, for Ultra League. And of course will be decently bulky for the Ultra League, or for the Great League, should I say. So it could be quite an interesting Pokemon. We don't really have any good electric types. And once again, I'm just actually having a wee look here at the moves it can learn. Thundershock, it can learn Water Gun, Mudshot, Flail, Weather Ball, Zap Cannon, Muddy Water. So we're going to get a Muddy Water Pokemon here, which is amazing. Maybe Muddy Water is going to get a buff this season, who knows. I'm not seeing really any amazing moves here. I'm seeing Zap Cannon, Weather Ball, which is a normal Weather Ball, which is quite interesting. So it could be like something like a Body Slam or something like that. These are just the normal moves that it learns by leveling up. And of course that evolves from Tadbulb. I don't think anybody's too interested in Little Cup Pokemon, but it seems to be more of a HP weighted Pokemon for anybody interested, and maybe it'll be decent in Little Cup, who knows. Maybe they'll nerf Bronzor this season, who knows. A couple of other things we've got here is a Research Day with Oddish, which I'm not too sure why that would be. Maybe they're going to do like a moveset for Blossom or Veloplume or Gloom, who knows. Or maybe Oddish will get something other than Razor Leaf, of course, for Little Cup. I'm not too sure if they're going to focus on Little Cup. It's been a thing that's been kind of recurring for the last few seasons. I'm definitely hoping for that to be toned back a little bit. And the release of all of the Solosis Shinies will be coming in September apparently as well. So we'll see if that has anything to do with the moves as well. It is possible that these Pokemon do randomly get a moveset update as well, just like we did last season with a lot of random Pokemon. We will be having a very good community day in October, which is going to be Timber, of course, with all of the shiny releases. Conkeldurr could be learning some interesting moves, including like Super Power, Power Up Punch, Brutal Swing, and a few other ones. Conkeldurr, in general, is just kind of like a worse Machamp. It's not quite as glassy. It can be quite interesting in the Master League, but in general, I don't think it's going to be too meta shifting, unless it gets just a completely insane move update, in which case it might be pretty decent in the Great League. Maybe Brutal Swing itself would be quite an interesting one to give it that dark coverage, which a lot of fighters don't really have. Of course, Machamp does have payback, but it is quite an expensive move, so it could be quite good to have a cheaper dark move on a fighting type. So maybe Brutal Swing Conkeldurr could be something to watch out for, but I can't see it being too amazing unless they add a new move. Now this next Pokemon is really interesting in my opinion. It's the release of Smoliv, which evolves into Doliv, and then Arboliva. Now this is a really interesting Pokemon. This is a grass normal type. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we have that particular typing in Pokemon Go. So this would be a grass type that is immune to Ghost, well of course, double resist Ghost with the normal typing. That could be a very interesting defensive typing. Of course it will be weak to counter, which you know, what isn't at this point, but let's have a look at its moveset to see if there is anything interesting. It knows Seed Bomb, Energy Ball, Petal Blizzard, Petal Dance. It can learn Mirror Coat, Razor Leaf, and it can learn a Weather Ball through Egg. It can learn quite a lot of moves through TM like Charm, Magical Leaf. I'm not sure if they actually like to pull from that moveset or if it's like more of the original moveset. I feel like Pokemon Go, they don't really have to stick to the main series actual moves. It can learn like a bunch of fairy moves, like all of the normal fairy moves. It can learn Earth Power if it wants to. That could be a very interesting Pokemon. Just to really hit back the things like Sableye and things that would be in the meta, or of course Trevenant, which is already nerfed. But any sort of prevailing ghost types in the meta would not really like to see this grass type. And of course, being a grass type, it's going to be very good against things like Carbink, of course Bastiodon, which I can imagine there will be a rise in. So this could be quite a cool Pokemon, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. In terms of stat product, it seems to have a very average stat product. It doesn't seem to be very high or low in anything, it's just kind of sitting in the middle. In the main series games, as you can see, it's more about special attack and special defense. So to be fair, it doesn't have the most amazing stats, but I think it will be quite an interesting Pokemon nonetheless. Now here is a Pokemon that will be very interesting, Clodsire. This thing has just got an insane HP stat, like the HP stat is just off the wall with this thing. So this Pokemon's got 130 HP and 60 defense. If you want to compare that to something that might be a little bit familiar to you in Pokemon Go, Umbreon's got 95 HP and 110 defense. So Clodsire has got less defense, so it takes more damage from hits, but it has insane HP. This thing is going to be just impossible to farm down, and it's going to have quite an interesting moveset. This thing is going to be a joined ground and poison typing, same as Nidoqueen, so this could be just the new Nidoqueen. Now the moves that it learns just generally are Poison Sting, Mud Shot, of course Yawn, because you know it looks like a very tired boy, Poison Jab, Sludge Wave, Mega Horn, Earthquake. It can actually learn Counter, which would be pretty hilarious, and then for TMs it can just learn an absolute array of moves like Acid Spray, Body Slam, Rock Slide, Gunk Shot, Iron Head. This thing can learn anything, Surf, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Hydro Pump, whatever, like this thing does not care. Giga Impact. This thing is basically just going to be an absolute HP monster, of course. You're going to swap it in and just be able to fire off multiple moves. Of course, you actually do have pretty decent attack to be fair, but it's more about just hanging in there and getting off a ton of damage. And they have a community day for this Pokemon, by the looks of things, coming up in November, which is going to be a joint one with the normal Quagsire and Wooper, which is going to be a lot of fun. I wonder if they're going to give Quagsire another move, because it already has quite a decent moveset, and yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting to see in November. Just to wrap things up in terms of like what updates I hope to see, I think it is pretty much time that we do see a lot of these Pokemon nerfed. I think, is Registeel due a nerf at this point? I think they could even further like reduce the chance of Zapcannon debuff, or do something with one of those moves. I feel like Registeel is just a little bit too broken. The fact you can beat Medis in the zeros is kind of broken. I think Swampert is overdue a debuff and nerf. The Pokemon's just been broken forever. Medicham, I think the only way that you can nerf Medicham reasonably is by either increasing the energy cost and damage of Ice Punch, which means that you cannot outpace Noctowls and things, or like cannot outpace Trevenants. But the Ice Punch does more damage, right? So you might get off one Ice Punch against the Noctowl and one Ice Punch against the Trevenant, not two. Or just remove Ice Punch altogether and give it a different move. I think that's the only way to nerf that Pokemon. I think Licky Tongue's fine, Scrafty's fine, Double's fine. I think with Noctowl, it's just such an annoying Pokemon because of course Shadow Ball hits super hard. I don't think you can nerf Shadow Ball because it hurts the ghosts a little bit too much. So again, I'm more of a fan of removing moves where possible. I personally don't think Noctowl's that much of an issue anymore. I think it has so many answers, especially with Carbink, that it's a bit of a non-issue now. I think Lantern's really the tricky one, Lantern and Medi. I think Lantern, it needs probably nerf Spark and then give some of the other electric types Thundershock, which is a better like move anyway. Maybe give that move a little bit of a buff. I think you have to do something very specific to Lantern, like take away Surf and give it something else instead. I don't know, like that Pokemon, it's got way too much coverage. The fact that it's beating ground types and flying, it's just way too much coverage with too much bulk and health. So I think those are really the main things. I wouldn't mind seeing some of the fast move pressure moves get nerfed in energy generation, like Smackdown, Razor Leaf. I think we need to see like a little bit of an end to those type of Pokemon. They're what really makes the Great League a lot more RPS in my opinion. And of course we could be doing with some buffs. An interesting one that I'm making a call here for is Vigorove. If they ever buff Vigorove, that thing's going to be a nightmare. They could look to buff things like Como-O, like give it a better sort of coverage move, give it like a breaking swipe. Could be quite interesting. Maybe give Lurantis another move. I feel like that Pokemon's just right on the edge. Like Leaf Blade and Superpower are amazing, so it's sort of hard to buff that Pokemon. Diggersby, man, like I think Diggersby's the one that needs that buff, bro. Funny enough, I mentioned this in Henry's stream, and but he came up with his Ice Punch. I've heard him mention it a few times. Ice Punch Diggersby, man, give it to me right now. I think that Pokemon's amazing. It's such a nice, unique anti-meta, especially with Quick Attack. The recommended moveset is Mudshot, but if it had Ice Punch, you probably could go Mudshot Ice Punch for the energy generation to really hit back the Noctowls, bro. It would just be amazing. And I think it's a welcome change. Especially because it's weak to so many things, grass, water, counter. It's not going to be an overpowered Pokemon by any stretch of the imagination. I think those are the real sort of main issues. Definitely just buff some fringe Pokemon, make sort of maybe some more viable ghost types. Maybe give Cofagrigus a different coverage move, that'd be kind of cool. Or give Runerigus a bit better coverage. I'm definitely all for that. Maybe buff some of the outlying fighting types, but it's kind of difficult to do so. I think just adding more variety, adding new Pokemon, and probably getting rid of the main 3 or 4 problems, which are probably like Medicham, Registeel, Noctowl, Lantern. If you can sort of hit that core, especially Medicham at this point, and Lantern, I think we'll be in a good position. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of video and if you want to see more. Thanks for watching. This has been King GBL. Good luck and peace out.